Hi, good morning to all. In the previous video, we understood data abstraction is one of the advantages of database management system. In this video, we will discuss levels of abstraction. We have three levels. That's why it is called as three levels of data abstraction, or you can say three levels of schema, or you can say views of data. We will recollect some information regarding data abstraction. We all know that data abstraction, it provides hiding unnecessary information from the user. That means here the user is not allowed to access the data directly. He has to access the data with the help of database management system. So the interaction, we are not going to allow the user directly with the database. Okay. Then, for example, you can take railway reservation. There, we are going to book a ticket. That means we are accessing the data of railways, but we don't know where the data is actually stored. With this abstraction, we are going to hide the information about the where the data is stored. Let us consider another example, online banking. Here also what happens, you are going to do some transaction through online banking, but you don't know where the changes happened in the database. As a user, you are unaware of where the actual database is stored and what are the data structures they used. That means the user is unaware of location of data. Let us discuss three levels of data abstraction. The lowest level is physical level. It is also called as an internal level. Next higher level is conceptual level. It is also called as a logical level. Highest level of abstraction is view level. It is also called as external level. And the schema at this level, view level, is called as external schema. We know what is meant by schema. Schema is nothing but overall structure, or you can say overall design. The schema at the view level is nothing but external schema, whereas the schema at the logical level is called as logical schema. Coming to the lowest level of abstraction, the schema at this level is called as physical schema. That's why this is called as three levels of abstraction, or you can say it as a three levels of architecture, or you can another way you can say three levels of schema. All are same. We know that data abstraction we are using in DBMS. Let us consider one example so that we can understand the necessity of this three levels of data abstraction. Okay, let us consider one small house which has only one room. In that room, one part of the house you are using for kitchen, another part you are using for bed, another part you are using as a hall. Whenever the people are discussing something in the hall, they can aware that what is happening in the kitchen and what is happening in the bed. So there is no abstraction here. Okay, this you can take it an example for file system. We'll take another example. If you consider the somewhat bigger house, there is a partition for each and individual activity. Am I right? So if anybody enters into the house, they will be allowed to stay in hall as the rooms are separated. For example, you can take here, this is kitchen, and you can take this as a bedroom. Okay, so the people who are discussing in the hall, they are unaware of what happening in the case of kitchen, and they are unaware of what happening in the bed. So this is the abstraction nowadays people are interested. This architecture we are using now. So whatever the architecture we are using here in the case of database management system, which provides abstraction of a hall from the kitchen and bed. Let us understand the three-level architecture and we can correlate with this example. Now we will consider the three levels of abstraction. In this architecture, you can see the lowest level of abstraction is physical level. It is also called as internal level. Next, higher level of abstraction is logical level. It is also called as a conceptual level. Highest level of abstraction in this architecture is view level, also called as external level. At view level, different users, there may be n number of users, they want to visualize part of a database as per their authenticity. But they are unaware of what happens at the logical level and they are unaware of what happens at the physical level. This is the abstraction provided from the user. It is the highest level of abstraction. If you come to the next level, that is logical level, programmers or designers, they are working at the logical level and they are also unaware of what happens at the physical level. This is also abstraction provided at the logical level. Whereas database administrators, they are working at the physical level. Now we will discuss individually what happens at the view level, after that what happens at the logical level, and at last what happens at the physical level. Let us consider the view level. At this view level, the users are allowed to visualize a part of the database and this view level will tell how the data is visualized to the user. And we will consider one example. Okay, suppose one university database is there. There the student is accessing a data, a part of the data which is allowed to him, whereas faculty is also accessing a part of the data. Accounts officer also is going to access another part of the data. Let us consider a student. What happens? He can view his marks and he can view his attendance and he can view his fee structure. Whereas regarding faculty, he can view his salary and he can view his class timetable. Coming to the accounts officer, he can view all the financial transactions. So, in this case, the students are not allowed to see the salary of the faculty, whereas faculty is not allowed to see all the financial transactions of the university. So this is the way, that means students, for example, you can see the diagram to understand clearly, the students are allowed to see this particular part of the database. They are unaware of remaining database. Whereas coming to the faculty, they are allowed to see another part of the database and they are not allowed to see the other part. Coming to the financial officer, he is allowed to see this particular part of the database, which that means academics part he is not allowed to see. This is the abstraction provided for each and every individual. So here what happens? In this case, the viewers are the student, faculty and accounts officer. They can visualize the data as per their eligibility and their authenticity. They are not allowed to see the others data. This is the abstraction provided for each and every individual user. Let us consider the conceptual level or logical level. The schema at this level is called as a conceptual schema. It will tell us what data is actually stored and what is the data and relationship among data and what is the data type we are using and what is the data structure we are using, and what are the tables existed, and how the relationship between different tables. These are the things. So it is nothing but a blueprint of the data. It will give the total scenario about the data. Okay. Let us discuss physical level. It is also called as internal level. The schema at this level is called as a internal schema. It will tells us where the data is actually stored. That means it will tell the location of data, it will tell the structure of the storage, and it will give us what are the accessing methods we are using, and it will tell us what are the files we are using for storing the data, and what is the index mechanism we are using for accessing files, and it will also tell us how the data is fragmented. Here at this level, the database administrator will take care about which part of the data you want to store in which disk. At this level, the data stored in the form of files. When it comes to this data is visualized to the users at view level as tables. Then we are going to discuss the purpose of these three levels of abstraction is to achieve data independence. That's why we are learning the architecture of these three levels of abstraction. For what? To achieve data independence. This data independence, it will allow the user to access the data, but the users are not allowed to interact the data directly. And here we can conclude that to achieve the data independence only, we are using these three levels of abstraction. Now, in the next class, we will discuss what is data independence, how we can achieve the data independence, and various levels. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.